Hi, and welcome to Spoiler Alert, powered through Christ Creek Library. I'm your host for today, Abby. Now, before I start the actual chat, I'm just going to go on how I run things. First of all, I will give you an overview of the book, which I promise will not contain any spoilers. And then I will go answer a series of 5 questions, which will relate to the book that I choose for the day. And then I will do something that I like to call thoughts and ideas, which will just be something where I will maybe rate the book or just give you any other thoughts and ideas that don't really relate to the questions and whether I like the book and stuff like that. Discussing today is Ruby Redfort, Look Into My Eyes. This is part of the Ruby Redfort series and is the first book out of the 6. So, here is the overview on the back of the book. Rule number 1. You can never be completely sure what might happen next, especially when your new butler just recruited you for an undercover organization where break-ins, daring rescues, and life-or-death situations are all in a day's work. It's a good thing Ruby Redfort can keep her mouth shut, can't she? Ruby Redfort, code breaking, genius, 13-year-old girl, gadget-laden spy. So really the book is just about a genius girl who gets recruited for a spy agency, right? It's pretty good. This segment may contain spoilers. What do I like most about the book? Well, I would say that I just like the whole concept of when Ruby got recruited, because it wasn't just like her butler Hitch, who is actually part of the spy agency. It wasn't like he was just like, oh look, this is Spectrum, spy agency, and we want to recruit you. Are you in or out? No, they sent her an anonymous, basically scavenger hunt, but it was really like thought out high-tech scavenger hunt that really took a lot of thought and would take a genius to figure out, which of course Ruby is. And then once she got to Spectrum, she wasn't allowed to know what her case was, and LB, the head of Spectrum 8, which is the spy agency, she was like, so are you in or out? You tell me now. I can't give you any information unless you tell me you're in or out. So it's just like really secretive and not really straightforward, which I actually really enjoyed. I like least about the book? Well, I don't think that is really necessary to have Mrs. Digby, the Redfort's housekeeper, get kidnapped. So, in the beginning of the book, you know that for the Redfort family, that their whole house gets wiped out by some burglar. Like, they don't have any furniture, they have nothing basically but a telephone and anything that is actually like connected to the house and you can't just move. And with that, they took the housekeeper, and I don't really understand the point. I mean, I guess it drives the plot and you meet the other person that got kidnapped who the Count is pretending to be, but I just don't really get the point of kidnapping Mrs. Digby when she really doesn't have anything to do with really anything. I understand that it gives us who Mrs. Digby is. Like, she's a strong person and she's pretty straightforward and she's just a very strong human being. I mean, she's just an old little housekeeper, but still, I just really did not enjoy that part of the book. My favorite character would be Ruby Redfort's best friend, Clancy Crew. He is very loyal. He's a very loyal friend. Like, And he also gets these hunches on like basically if something's going on or just theories, but his hunches are always right. Anyways, he knew when Ruby wasn't telling him something. Like, she got recruited for the spy agency, right? She wasn't allowed to blab. That's like their rule number one. You cannot blab to anybody. But Clancy knew that something was up, so of course he like made Ruby tell him. And then he knew and he didn't blab to anybody. Like, I just find that very loyal in how he knew that she wasn't telling him the truth and how they can't keep anything away from him. So he's probably my favorite character. So. My least favorite character is probably Nine Lives. Of course, Nine Lives is not her real name. She is a villain, and that's just what Spectrum calls her. That's basically their code name for her, because somehow she escapes without dying almost every battle. I don't like her because she's probably just my least favorite villain of all the villains, and of course she's a villain, so that adds on to the hate for her. And at the end, I understand that like it's probably good that she didn't kill everybody, but at the end, so she had everybody at gunpoint and she could have just killed them because that's what she wanted to do. But she had it blab on to Hitch about, you left a scar on my face at the last battle we went through. And she was just very overdramatic at the scar. And in the time that she was talking about the scar, Hitch was able to get to her and take the rifle and kill Nine Lives, which really that's just her life wasted when she could have gone out of there alive if she wouldn't have just been like blabbing on and on about random stuff. I mean, like, it wasn't necessarily random, but still. She just seemed a little over dramatic, and I don't know, I just didn't really like her. I believe that this cover of the book is actually really good with the story, because Ruby looks like that she's keeping something, although she's spying, and then you can see her little fly barrette clip. And that's just, I think, represents Spectrum. And she has her notebook that she's jotting everything down and all of that. But I would not say this is my favorite cover for her. Here are some of the other covers. I would have to say this was my least favorite because I wouldn't say I comprehend this cover the most. Like, I just don't see how it connects to the book that much. But here, I can see that this cover connects to the book really well because it's saying, look in my eyes. It's not Ruby's eye, it's just a general eye. And I understand that look in my eyes is probably the Jade Buddha, which is the statue that everybody was trying to get. And I understand that look into my eyes is probably going with that. So it's just a general eye, and you can see a fly buzzing in the eye, which I think is really significant to the story because a fly is how you represent Spectrum. Then you can see the fly here again. It's just a really beautiful eye, a general eye, not necessarily Ruby's. So that's what I think about the covers. So now we got into thoughts and ideas, which is basically the last thing for my book chat. So my thoughts about this book would just be, it's generally good, like the whole concept of the Jade Buddha and everything about the book and her solving skills and really just everything, almost dying a few times and all of that. I think that was really good. I would not say it's my favorite book in the series, but for being the first book, it does a really good job of clarifying all the characters and just introducing you to the story. In the beginning, it gives a little snippet that when I first read it, I did not realize that it really had anything to do with anything. Like, it talks about Mr. Pinkerton, and this was a memory of Ruby's from when she was 3. Mr. Pinkerton was her neighbor, and like some suspicious activity was going over there. I didn't realize that really related to anything, but now that I've read all the books, I realized that it related to the last book. I won't say too much though because this is actually something I wouldn't want to spoil for you. Overall, if I were to rate out of like 5 stars, I would probably rate it 3.5 to 4 because it was a really good book. It just wasn't necessarily my favorite out of the whole series, but it was really good. Enjoy the segment of spoiler alert powered through Christ Creek Library. Please don't forget to check out our videos with our other hosts, Ashlyn and Katrina. Please comment below with any answers to the questions that I mentioned for this book or any books that you want us to do in our videos or any other questions you would like answers to for the book Redfort, Look Into My Eyes. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I hope you enjoyed. Happy reading!